What's up, guys? This is Aaron, and it's time for college football week 5 best bets. I've got 4 for you. Coming off another winning week, 3 out of 4 so far. We're 30-23 on the season, so let's get started. Number 1, we're going to do Nebraska minus 10 at Purdue. So Purdue, 2 weeks ago, came off absolute blowout against Notre Dame, where they were bullied in the trenches for 4 quarters. They threw for like 56 passing yards. Between the last 2 games against Power 4 competition, they're throwing for less than 200 passing yards in those 2 games. So against a team like Nebraska, that's really physical, blue-collar mindset under Matt Rule, this is not the kind of team that you're going to be able to, just line it and run the ball and then maybe play action off of that. It's just not how you can attack Nebraska with the caliber athlete that Purdue has. And last week they went on the road at Oregon State, and I can forgive a 17-point loss all the way across the country. But still down the whole game, never really threatened to win the game. They had, it was last week where they had 56 passing yards. They had 124 against Notre Dame. So less than 200 between the two. And again, minus 416 yards against Notre Dame, minus 126 yards last week against Oregon State. So I think it's going to be more of the same here. Nebraska's coming off an overtime loss. I think they'll be a little angry and ready to, kind of get back after that. So let's go Nebraska. Minus the 10. The second game is going to be UCF minus 14 at home to Colorado. As good as UCF is in the Bounce House, which is their home stadium in Orlando, they not just win, but a lot of times they win and cover, win by margin. It's one of the better, if not one of the top, home field advantages in college football. You've got basically UCF coming off of a bye, so they've had 2 weeks to prepare for this, while Colorado's coming off, they needed a Hail Mary at the end of the game to send the game into overtime against Baylor, and then they rode that momentum to victory. Okay, so they're coming off kind of an emotional victory, whereas, UCF has 2 weeks to prepare. That's a really bad spot for Colorado. Not to mention, Colorado's given up 14 sacks between the Baylor game and the Nebraska game. So against Power 4 teams, they're getting sacked 7 times a game. That's not very good. They're not able to run the ball very well, and UCF's getting almost 400 yards per game on the ground. So this one, 14's a little steep, but I think it still should be an easy one. So let's go UCF minus 14. The third one here is Kansas State minus 5 at home to Oklahoma State. So, at least for last year coming into this year, Kansas State has just been whooping teams at home. Very good ground game. Avery Johnson takes over at quarterback this year. Not as great of a thrower as I thought he would be, but still a great runner. They've got multiple running backs that are going to carry the ball for 5-6 yards per carry. And we've already seen Oklahoma State, they've really struggled on defense, like I didn't think that they would. But that's just, they're just showing what kind of team they are, So especially last week, they gave up a ton of yards at home against Arkansas. Okay, that's just one game. But then last week against Utah, they're getting destroyed. It was 22-3 against Utah, not with Cam Rising, but with a backup true freshman quarterback. The game's not close. The game finishes 22-19. So, if you just look at the box score, at the final score, you're thinking, okay, maybe Oklahoma State played really close with them, but no, it was 22-3. They got doubled up in first downs, minus 172 yards to Utah with a true freshman quarterback. So, that doesn't bode well here going on the road now against Kansas State. So let's take Kansas State -5. The last one I'll give you, let's see, we'll do, trying to do numbers that are still available here. We'll do Arkansas +6 against A&M. This game's actually played at AT&T Stadium, so it's a neutral site game. And I really just like, with Petrino coming back as the offensive coordinator for Arkansas, they've kind of turned over a new leaf. Taylor Green comes in at quarterback from Boise State, and he's played, he was decent at Boise State. Not good, but just decent. But, at Arkansas so far, even against, pretty quality competition, Taylor Green's been really good. He's throwing the ball well. He's seeing it well. He's running the ball really well. We already kind of saw Notre Dame struggle against Notre Dame with Riley Leonard, who runs the ball decently. Taylor Green's probably going to run the ball a little better than that. But I really just like catching almost a touchdown. This is neutral site, so you should get, good representation fan-wise from both teams.